Welcome to Dream Big Today. This is Terrific Tuesday, September 3rd, and today is my birthday. You may have been on yesterday, or anyway, if you know me, we celebrate birthdays at my house for a week or maybe a month. Whatever gives us another reason to celebrate. So that's what we're doing this week again. So, thank you for joining me, and more Ecclesiastics. It's so good. I'm so glad that you're reading this with me. In fact, this is day 247 of reading the Bible so far this year. And what what great encouragement and things that just provoke our thoughts to the good side rather than to the bad side. We've seen all kinds of our family history in the word so far, and just how people are still people. There's nothing new under the sun, just like what we've been reading. So if you would, put your prayer request and your praise report in the chat box so we can celebrate those praises with you. We can share your concerns and everything like that for what you may be going through. There's chaos. Sometimes there's just things that happen, and we just need to have somebody along with us. And so let's start with Ecclesiastes 4 through 6 this morning. Solomon continues talking, and he's talking now about oppression. Wow, and this is like 3,000 years ago, and there was oppression then. Isn't that something? Can you just, like what could they possibly be down in the dumps about? Well, there was plenty of things, because there's nothing new under the sun. People still mistreated people. They, especially when they stepped away from God, they didn't have the love in their hearts, the obedience to be nice, be kind, be gentle, be humble, and love your Lord with all your heart. So he says he's observed all the oppression that takes place under the sun. I saw the tears of the oppressed, with no one to comfort them. The oppressors have great power, and their victims are helpless. Now, let me ask you this. Do you walk past somebody that looks like they're having a bad day? Would you step in and comfort them, give them an encouraging word? That might be the only encouraging word they have all day long, and maybe all week long. I'm all about lifting people up, and I would step in there. I would ask them if I could help them push their grocery cart or put gas in their car. I mean, whatever it is, just the slightest little thing, just to acknowledge somebody will change something in their life. But now Solomon, during this part, is not questioning the existence of God. He knows God's there. But the goodness, he's like, why do bad things happen? Why is all of this going on with all of your people? He says the dead are better off than the living. They don't have oppression anymore. They're out of that. But most fortunate of all are those who are not yet born, for they have not seen all of the evil that is done under the sun. And so he's still thinking horizontally. He's not thinking vertically yet. He says, and then a bittersweet part of it in verse 4. Then I observed that most people are motivated to success because they envy their neighbors. So envy. We always are peeking across the fence to see what they have. Have they improved something in their backyard? What are they driving? I mean, did they go to the furniture store? Did they go get another new couch? We're always looking, what about that new job? I had a lot of positions whenever I was working, a lot of positions. But you know what? That's just what I did at that time. None of that has changed anything for me right now, although I understand a lot of struggles that people have because I was around a lot of people. But again, this is meaningless, like chasing the wind. Better with to have one handful with quietness than two handfuls with hard work and chasing the wind. Are you chasing the wind today? I feel like sometimes I do, but whenever I get down to the end of the day, it doesn't seem like it made any sense. What did I accomplish for the kingdom? Oh, I didn't accomplish anything. I thought about me all day. And then 7, I observed another example of something meaningless under the sun. This is a case of a man who is all alone, without a child or a brother, yet works hard to gain much wealth. Then he says, what am I doing this for? Why am I giving up all so much pleasure now? It is all meaningless and depressing. What is your purpose? Do you have a reason for getting up in the morning? We keep it focused on God, and you will have that reason. He goes on in verse 9, which we hear this in wedding vows, and you know, most of the time, two people are better than one. And then they go on down talking about, uh, you know, how can one stay warm alone? A person standing alone can be attacked. Two can be back to back and conquer, or three. Even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. So, what is that triple braided cord for us? In a marriage, that would be God and Steve and I. We would be that three-stranded cord. So we could join together with God at the center, that we can work together in the kingdom and accomplish more as a team than we can separately. And definitely, if we're not, if God isn't in the midst of it. Let's jump on down to chapter 5. As you enter the house, we're talking about worship now. As you enter the house of God, keep your ears open and your mouth shut. We're talking about reverence. And so Solomon's done the temple. Father David had the plans, and Solomon put it together. But I was listening to a teacher this morning that this was so good, and I couldn't hardly wait to share it with you. So the temple steps, how they made those big steps going up to the temple, was different size steps. So there was like a 12-inch step, and then a 36-inch step, and it rotated all the way up. They've uncovered this. They've discovered this. So now when we're reading in our Bible, let's see if this makes sense to you. And I'm going to read out of NIV. It's in verse 1. It says, guard your steps when you go to the house of God. So what the teacher was talking about this morning is in the way they made the steps, you had to be focused, and you could not mindlessly run up the steps, because they're all even and just all, put in order. It was staggered in size, and they had to focus on the step to go in. So they were focused before they even walked through the threshold. They were focused on their walk into the temple. And quiet, keep your ears open and your mouth shut. It is evil to make mindless offerings to God. Don't make rash promises, and don't be hasty in bringing the matters to God. See, this next section is talking a lot about your speech and communication, something that I need to work on myself. But don't make rash promises. Don't be hasty in bringing matters before God. After all, God is in heaven, and you're here on earth. So here's a big one. Let your words be few. Praise more than you talk. You can, and it's not just about singing. It is about coming in reverently into the temple and honoring God with how do I want to say this? He wants a relationship with us. So we go to give him honor and build on that relationship. Pray, meditate. Too much activity gives you restless dreams, and too many words make you a fool. That's a fact. And I can just tell you, some many times I've dug myself into a hole when there was silence in a conversation. I feel like I've got to be the one to just pick it up and tell something. And then I always regret it. And they say silence is golden, and there's a reason they say that. Sometimes you just don't have to say a thing. Just keep your mouth shut. And then verse 4, when you make a promise to God, don't delay in following through, for God takes no pleasure in fools. Keep all the promises you make to him. Now that's an order. Okay, so how are you doing on that? Well, I haven't done so well. I didn't, I was married before Steve and I got married. So sometimes that doesn't work out. And there are times that, it's just not going to work out. But for the keep all the promises you make to him. Pray about everything before you speak. It's better to say nothing than make a promise and not keep it. And the Bible talks about making vows. So that would be something to go back and just study on that. But when you make that vow, especially that marriage vow, like as soon as you realize how serious this is from this point on, make sure that you're praying to God every day about that. Don't let your mouth make you sin. Look how Solomon is telling us stuff that, well, that makes sense. But not everybody understands that. Everybody likes to put their 2 cents in. They want to give you their opinion. Sometimes that's not a good opinion. Sometimes they shouldn't even say anything. Then 7, again, we're still talking about speech and communication, so that's a big deal. And it is pertinent to us today. Talk is cheap, like daydreams and other useless activities. Fear God instead. Talk is cheap. That ought to be on a t-shirt somewhere. And then again, it's talking about being oppressed. We go on down to verse 10. And those who love money will never have enough. Oh my goodness. But money is so much fun. We can shop all day long. Well, that's meaningless too, because like I said yesterday, I've got stuff in my house that I paid a lot of money for, and it doesn't do anything. It's collecting dust. The more you have, the more you want. The more you have, the more you spend. The more you have, the more you worry. The more you have, the more you lose. My husband and I had a debate one time. I lost a really nice pair of gloves that he'd given me. Well, I told him I didn't really technically lose them. I misplaced them. He said, "You haven't seen them for over a year. You've lost them." I said, "No, I'm convinced they're here in the house. I just have misplaced them." So we had that debate going on for a long time, and I found them in the hood of my coat, a place that you would never put anything. But it was a debate for a long time. Is misplacing the same as losing? I was trying to defend myself. Talk is cheap. Don't just be silent. And then last, the more you have, the more you leave. So who do you leave it to? We go on to talk about that. It's all chasing the wind. And then I want to jump on over to 18, chapter 5, verse 18. Even so, I've noticed the one thing, at least, that is good. It is good for people to eat, drink, and enjoy their work under the sun during the short life God has given them. This just rings to me because today is my birthday. And I'm thinking at this point in my life, how am I enjoying the life that God has purposed for me? Am I doing what He meant for me to do at this point of my life? It's a good thing to receive wealth from God and the good health and enjoy it. I want to enjoy, I want to continue taking care of this temple so I can continue in the mission that he has for me because I'm not done yet. In verse 18 through 20, this is just making the best of the previous bad situations, but it's talking about what's good and to enjoy. It's a choice. You enjoy it, and that's your choice for today. And God keeps such people so busy enjoying life that they take no time brooding over the past. So the past is history. That is a story that you don't live in anymore. Now you may remember it and very well learn from it, but don't just keep carrying that bag with you everywhere you go. Nehemiah 8:10 says, "The joy of the Lord is your strength." And and I mean, stand on that promise. Um, and then chapter 6 is talking about one's wealth. And oh, serious tragedy. Oh man, it is so bad. I've seen under the sun, and it weighs heavily on humanity. God gives some people great wealth and honor and everything they could ever want, but then he doesn't give them a chance to enjoy it. They die, somebody else, even a stranger, ends up enjoying the wealth. This is meaningless. A sickening tragedy. What what can you do with that? It's all about our time on earth. And if we're living and working every day for the Lord, just get everything in order because it doesn't matter. Somebody will benefit from that, even if you didn't know them. That's my opinion. Um, oh, and then on down to verse 9. And we need to remember this one. Enjoy what you have rather than desiring what you don't have. Quit peeking over that fence and looking to see what the neighbors have. Quit doing that. What whatever you have, just use that for the kingdom. Don't buy stuff out of greed, but need. What do you need to have today? Not what I wish, I envy, I want. Everything has already been decided. It was known long ago at what each person would be. So there's no use arguing with God about your destiny. He knew that you were going to be here at this time on earth, and there's somebody out there, many people out there probably that need to hear God's word from you. You're the only one that can reach them. So let's seek God and fulfill our destiny for the kingdom. That's our job today. And just focus on today. What's your kingdom destiny for today? Um, and then in the few days of our meaningless lives, who knows how our days can best be spent? Our lives are like a shadow. Who can tell what will happen on this earth after we are gone? Our life is a shadow. That's it. But we know where we're going to spend eternity, and that's going to be amazing. Let's jump on into 2 Corinthians 6:14 through 7:7. And this is so good. Paul is giving us words of wisdom as well as what we've heard from Solomon. Don't team up with those who are unbelievers. Don't be unequally yoked, as in the other versions will say. When you're yoked together with an unbeliever, you're going in circles. Have you ever been on like a paddle boat and you're not paddling at the same rate, and then all of a sudden you just start going around and around in a circle? You got to get in the same rhythm. You got to have the same uh, mindset of what you're doing to take that straight. Now, in a marriage, that could be a tug of war. And I have seen that in whether it is an unbeliever with a believer or if it is two completely different beliefs trying to merge together. It's difficult. And in the beginning of that relationship, you need to iron all of that stuff out of how, who do you follow? And then it says, how can a righteous partner be with how righteous can be a partner with wickedness? Oh my word, I butchered that up. How can light live with darkness? What harmony can there be between Christ and the devil? See, there's no compromise. You cannot compromise that. But then let's drop on down to verse 17. Oh, it says, therefore, so I got to back up a little bit. I will live in them and walk among them. I will be their God, and they will be my people. Therefore, come out among unbelievers and separate yourselves from them, says the Lord. Now, that's a command. There's no way to completely separate yourself from this sinful world, but we should resist the sin around us. So he says, come out and separate. That's a command. Don't touch their filthy things. And then next, I will welcome you. So there's a command followed by a promise. Come out, separate, and don't touch. Get rid of, what do you need to get rid of out of your house today? Is there something in there that is causing you to have this little wall built between you and God? Are you going to places that you shouldn't go? Stop doing that. Separate yourself. We will be, and like I said, we're in the world, and we need to be the light in the world for people to see the Jesus in us. But don't participate in their sin. And I will be your father, and you will be my sons and daughters, says the Almighty. That's all worth it. Chapter 7. Because we have these promises, dear friends, let us cleanse ourselves from everything that can defile our body or spirit. Now, it says, let us cleanse. That's an action on our part. So don't let anything defile your body, your spirit. Keep moving through or towards purity. But this is something to do. We come out, separate, and don't touch. And then we start the process of cleansing ourselves from everything. Step back away from it. This letting us work toward complete holiness because we fear God. And this is our participation in that. So see, we can pull out the promises in the word each and every day. You just have to be paying attention to it. Please open your hearts to us. We have not done wrong to anyone, nor led anyone astray, nor taken advantage of anyone. Paul's appeal here, open your hearts to us. Their hearts had been open to the world, and it was unequally yoked from Paul's teaching. But Paul says in verse 4, I have the highest confidence in you, and I take great pride in you. You have greatly encouraged me and made me happy despite all of our troubles. He is what I see in that is the adjectives he uses. His highest confidence, his great pride, and greatly encouraged. And you know what? I can just hear him now. I don't have a clue what he would have sounded like, but he is pumped up. When I get pumped up, I'm just all over descriptions. And that's what I see in that. And then he talks about the distractions and the conflicts. When they arrived, there was no rest for them. We faced conflict from every direction. See, whenever you're walking the walk, there's going to be opposition, and just be ready for that. Pray about God be interceding and being there, because he already is. With battles on the outside and fear on the inside. And then verse 6, highlight that. But God. That's all it is about, is but God. who encourages those who are discouraged, encouraged us by the arrival of Titus. See, God knew what Paul needed to hear. He knew. There was like that little blessing, that little touch that just gave Paul that excitement, that encouragement to continue on. It was all good. Um, when he told us how much you long to see me and how sorry you are for what happened and how loyal you are to me, I was filled with joy. That makes me smile this morning as I read what Paul said. I mean, all of these little tidbits in here, the little nuggets that we pull out is so precious because I mean that's for us. Whenever Paul wrote that, he was thinking, I Dolores will like this. Dee will like this. Leslie and Christy, everybody's gonna this is gonna touch them on September 3rd whenever they read this. And it will be a good thing. So today I'm going to close a tad bit early. I have an appointment to get to here shortly. And so I just want to thank you for joining me today and helping me kick off my birthday because it's not going to be meaningless today. I'm not going to chase the wind today. I'm gonna every step I take, it's gonna be for the kingdom today. Wherever I go, I'm just gonna shine the love of Jesus. And would you do that for me too? And so if you would just if you're new to our morning Bible study, just put your name in the chat and tell us that is something that you got out of today's word, and I'll come back later today and read it. So I love y'all. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon.